Hello and welcome. I am Adele, and here's what I've learned over the past 30 years doing wargaming and painting, building models, painting some, and stuff like that. Just being into this hobby because it is a wide-ranging hobby. I've said this many times. I've said it. There's so many ways to enter it. You can go through books, video games, playing with friends, just loads of different ways. And there's always going to be some sort of game that you will find interesting, setting, genre, etc. It's just wargaming is one of the best hobbies. You don't have to play the game. You can just sit there and build and paint models, or you could play the game and play with grey models, as I'm kind of want to do. And well, that's because I don't like painting. So I've said that so many times. It's going to be a meme at one point. Anyway, the thing I want to talk about today is that something I've learned, and it's not just from about myself, it's observations from other people as well, and things I've observed with other people. That is strange hobby quirks. These are kind of weird hobbies, okay? Not weird hobbies, weird quirks people have when doing the hobby or buying models or stuff like that. Now, there's obviously the pile of shame and people overspending, and that's not quite a quirk. That's unfortunately a lack of self-discipline. I do apologize. That is my opinion on that one. So when it actually comes to building and painting the models, there's so many little things people do which is different from everyone else. Or there's subsections that all sort of loads of people do this, well, loads of other people do that, such as painting on the sprue, painting when built, pop, build and painting, stuff like that. So there's these little things that, people do and lots of other people do as well. So it's not really a strange quirk. And then there's things, people like me who been in the hobby for 30 years and obviously not being a fan of painting, as I've said, I have a bad habit of half painting a model. Like, I'll have it completely based and it'll be ready to paint and I'll start painting it, and I'll get into a point where I'm not feeling painting anymore, and I'll just put it on the shelf as is and start something else. And I do eventually get back to them, but that's just something I do. And I know it's a me. I know that, and probably other people do it too. It's not a bad thing. It's how I enjoy the hobby. I like building the models. That's what I get out of this, and maybe some other people do. See, if I'm reading a book, I'll read it from cover to cover. If I'm building it, I'll build it fully. But painting, yeah, I have sort of a bad habit of just leaving it on the shelf, and that's it. But another quirk I kind of found myself doing now, and that is rotating my kits and what I build and when I get them. Now, I have a hobby budget, and I get all my models and paints and stuff at the start of the month, and then I will build and paint them throughout the month. I'll mostly build anyway, and then at the end of the month, I'll move on to stuff that might not be finished painting yet, such as the half-painted ones, which I kind of fell out with, such as it took me like 4 months to paint the Land Raider Spartan because I just couldn't be bothered with it. I'm not even joking. It literally stood on my shelf, half yellow and half black. 405th Company. I hate the Imperial Fist, but I love the Crimson Fist. 405th Company, Horse Heresy, by the way. That's my excuse, and I will stick to that one. And so what I found myself doing, and this is one of the reasons I have a lot of grey Games Workshop stuff still left to paint. Yet, like, all my Wild West Exodus stuff's finished. Most of my Kings of War stuff's finished. All my Conquest stuff's, well, most of my Conquest stuff's finished. All my Judge Dredd is finished. I tend to paint the ones, like, if let's say I get Posse for Wild West Exodus. I get some Halflings for Kings of War. I get the models for Judge Dredd, and I get a warband for Conquest. I will build and paint in this order. I will go Wild West Exodus, Judge Dredd, Conquest, Kings of War. That will be the order I will always do it in. Yeah, it usually takes me about a week to do each box that I get, so by the end of that one. However, seeing as I still have a lot of great Games Workshop stuff, I find that if I finished my month's supply early, then I start going on to my Games Workshop and, trying to get that sort of painting backlog finished. So this is one of my weird quirks. I always do it in the right order. If I get Wild West Exodus, it doesn't matter if I'm already painting a squad or building a squad. I will straight away put that squad down and I will go ahead and paint and build the Wild West Exodus stuff. I will stop whatever I'm doing to do Wild West Exodus. And if I'm not doing Wild West Exodus, but I'm doing or that's finished, the same will go with Judge Dredd. So anything in sort of that level, if I'm doing a different project, I will go straight to that one first, finish that up, then can go back to the project I was working on prior. And now that's just another one of my strange quirks is, and this is more to do with the games. I do enjoy the lore, and there's lots of really cool lore out there for many war games. Wild West Exodus has a great lot of lore. Kings of War does too, and I've got to say Judge Dredd does because I read the comics. I don't know really what to say about that. But the books that I find most interesting is the ones that are basically just the rules and data sheets with very little lore. Now, I will complain that if such a thing like the Liber Studies having no lore is an issue, because I know people happen to want to read the lore, and there's very little lore in there. So I do see why that's an issue for most people. However, it's not really an issue for me, but I try to make an objective argument that, you know, people expect lore, such as in the codices. I will sit there and read all the rules for my armies, my factions that I'm collecting. Like I'm just going to be starting 100 Kingdoms for Conquest. So I'm just going through all their rules right now. I'm just reading all their rules over and over again. And that's the other thing. I just won't stop at once. Now, I will read them 3 times back to back. It's such a weird quirk of mine, but I will read the rules back to back 3 times. And I will focus on the faction that I'm collecting. I won't read like the whole data sheet for all the armies. It's like, I'm doing this army, and now I'm going to just read the rules over and over and over again. And it's just an interesting thing. Like, there's so many other people with strange quirks, and we're not just talking about licking your brush or, you know, drinking your paint water. I've never drunk my paint water. I've washed my brush off in my coffee a fair few times, but never actually drunk my paint water, ever. Mainly because I drink coffee, and the cups are completely different. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. What are your hobby quirks? Do you have any strange little hobby quirks that you do, and you don't think anyone else does? That's an interesting one. And put them down below and have a good chat about it. As the Chester Cat said here, as the Chester Cat said, we're all a little mad around here. So, anyway, if you want to save money on your wargaming, especially coming up to Christmas, there's Whaling Games down below for up to 20% off, and free delivery after £20. There's got a percent. There's the point system as well, so you can have even bigger, a slightly bigger discount, or just save up your points for the end of the year to start a brand new army. There's also Forbidden Planet for comics, TVs, mangas. There's my merchandise as well, comics, t-shirts, and everything. Those links are down below. There's Skyforge. Let's get them up that Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon because business. Bye-bye.